Hello and welcome back to my channel. You all already know the drill, so here we go. It's another OC video. I know that some of you might be new here, so perhaps you don't know what the drill is, but every single month I'll make a video based around one character or multiple characters if they're a more minor character in the story. Every single month towards the end of the month I'll post something to Instagram telling you guys to ask questions about this character, and then I tell you about this character and then answer your questions, and it's a fun time. And as you can tell from the title of this video, this month is about Aurora, my sweet little baby. If you haven't seen the video that I made explaining how this sort of world works, I would highly recommend watching that video before watching this one, because it's more of like a fantasy world, so there's a lot of things that you probably wouldn't be able to just pick up on from watching this. And in this video I'm going to assume that you have watched that, so if you haven't, go do that because it'll make this video a lot easier for you to understand. Yeah, enough dilly-dallying. I sounded real confident there. I'm trying to say, let's just do it. Cool. So this is normally the part of the video where I give the character's full name. Now, of course, this character's first name is Aurora. Fun little fact about the angel and demon babies in this story. Their bodies are kind of tracked by their last name. And so Aurora's last name that she has currently, which I don't think I'm going to say, like it's different from the last name that she had in her previous life. And then that one's different from the life before that. So that's kind of how their bodies are kind of like kept track of. It's by their last names. This is also the part of the video where I would tell you her age. So her soul age is hundreds of years old. She's been through a number of cycles. Her current body is roughly 10 years old. She is a female and she is an angel, and she's much more extroverted than Jeremy. She's a pretty big extrovert, actually. She's kind of two-faced, I guess. That sounds really bad. She has like kind of two different, like very different personalities that she kind of like bounces back and forth from. So the one that most people end up seeing is her more like cutesy, bubbly, childlike, like I'm a 10-year-old kind of personality, which is like still a genuine part of her personality, but for the most part it's just something that like people see. But then she also has this other sort of personality that only really comes out when it's necessary, which is a more like mature and wise personality, and it's like kind of more towards her soul age where she's like older and has more experience and can shoot out that wisdom. So yeah, she's mostly that like more childlike one though. She's kind of like a little bit of a mentor for Jeremy because, like I said before, she has been through quite a few life cycles, and so she knows how this whole thing works, and Jeremy really doesn't. So along with her doing her job of finding out what happened to him, she also is just kind of like showing Jeremy the ropes in how to like kind of be a demon. So it's different from being an angel and a demon because they have like different powers and stuff, but for the most part she's able to like help him cope and understand what is happening to him really, and just kind of help him do things. In terms of the whole finding out what happened to him thing, she's actually very opposite from Jeremy. She's very positive and very confident that she can do something about it, and she's just absolutely set on like, yes, let's do it. We can solve this. Because this sort of like mystery, detective-y work stuff is like that's just very in line of what she's known for, and that's the type of work that she's usually done before, so she knows her abilities and she's very confident that she can do something. In my Jeremy video, I talked about how he's very like cold towards people and kind of like a jerk towards other people, and Aurora, like personality-wise, is pretty much the complete opposite of him. Like, she's very happy, she loves talking to people. She doesn't really get the chance to do so very often, but she definitely likes talking to people and meeting new people, and she really likes human interaction. She's a very quick thinker and problem solver. That's kind of like one of the biggest personality traits in her field of work, I guess. Like, she's really good at taking things, putting them together, and like thinking just on the spot. And this is unnecessary. You guys probably knew what I meant. But yeah, that's the gist of her and her personality. So quick recap, summary, gist, synopsis of the story, Jeremy was born as a human, but also has a demon soul, and that's like super whack. And so Aurora came in to try and unwhack the stuff, you know? Pretty much like her mission for this life cycle is to figure out what happened to him and see if there's anything that can be done to reverse it and make him have a human soul along with his human body. So in terms of like angels in heaven and like this sort of angel work, she quickly became known for like her great work because she was just really good at what she did, and she really got the respect of like other angels really quickly. When she was assigned to what I call the Jeremy job, all of that kind of went out the window. So since Jeremy is a demon, all the angels are like gross. And yeah, I've talked about in that other video how they don't really get along, like angels and demons. And so when she started having to like be around this demon all freaking time, a lot of people kind of have like mixed opinions about it, because some people are just like, oh, she's just doing that because of her work, and then other people are like, why does she even have to do that, because demons are gross. Sometimes she feels really guilty for the type of lifestyle that Jeremy ended up living. So like humans don't know about all of the angels and demons and what they do and stuff. Obviously, like, I've talked about religions in this world, and so there are people who believe in it and some people who don't, but there's no real, like, proof in the human world that they exist. God, I'm amazing. Oh god. Even though it's like the reason Jeremy is like, that's not her fault, but she still feels really guilty for it, because most humans, like, they just, like, pretty much all humans aside from Jeremy, like, they just kind of live their life believing what they believe, and then eventually they die, and then that's it. But like now Jeremy has to deal with all of this and just all the stuff that I talked about in his video, and she's not directly responsible for it, but she does feel kind of guilty also because of like, he's a criminal. But yeah, she kind of feels a little bit of guilt, but she tries not to let it get to her too much. She ends up being very protective over Jeremy eventually, and in a lot of ways she's like the leader between the two. So like in terms of body, Jeremy is older than her, and so he kind of takes care of her in the way that like an older brother would take care of a younger sister. So they have like that kind of dynamic, but also at the same time, she has technically lived a lot longer than him, and she has a lot more experience, both just like about the human world and also what it's like to not be a human. And so they kind of like bounce off of each other, but I would say Aurora is actually more of the leader than Jeremy is. And then when Remy comes into the picture, good old Remy, Aurora is so much more like accepting, because like I said before, she really loves human interaction and just interaction in general, but she doesn't really get to do that a lot because of like the life that they're living and figuring out Jeremy's whole thing. And so when Remy comes into the picture, it's just really exciting for her because a new human. So yeah, very unlike Jeremy in that sort of sense. And yeah, there we go. There's all that stuff out the way. Now we're moving on to what I'm assuming is everyone's favorite part of the video. It seems like it'd be your favorite part of the video. Anyways, we always have 3 traditional questions that we answer in these videos. And just like Jeremy, Aurora doesn't have a birthday. So feel free to, like the last time, comment down what you think her birthday should be, and I will pick one. I still haven't picked a birthday for Jeremy, but you guys list a lot of great suggestions, so that'll happen at some point, I'm assuming. So yeah, feel free to do that. It could just be a day that you like, or based off of a zodiac sign, because that's what this question usually asks, is like, what's their zodiac sign? So go at it in the comments, but don't actually. That sounds very aggressive. You just go comment. Next one is, do they prefer ice cream cake or cookie cake? She likes cookie cake more. So does Jeremy, so they eat a lot of cookie cake together. And lastly, use a vine to describe her. Moving on from the non-traditional questions, what is her opinion on mortal animals? She really loves animals, and throughout their adventures, Aurora often finds animals and wants to keep them. Of course they can't, so Jeremy always has to talk her out of it, but she really likes animals. She's sad that she always outlives them, but she really likes them. What is the best and worst parts of her job? To her, the best part is helping people. She really likes just helping people and like helping the humans and making them happy, because I mean that is her purpose in life. So she really likes to do that, so that's definitely her favorite part about it. And her least favorite part is like kind of outliving everything. Like I said earlier, she really likes interaction and she loves meeting new people and she loves getting close with people. But you know, when you're an angel or a demon in the human world and you spend a lot of time there, a lot of the people that you meet are going to be humans, which means you're going to outlive them. And it kind of sucks having to like, you meet these people that you grow close to, whether it's because of your job or not, and then they just die. And then that happens for forever, like hundreds of years. So that's not the best. It's definitely a little bit of a downer. What abilities does she have? So kind of examples of basic, common, every angel has these kind of powers. Of course they have that like human form, and then they can transform into their angel form, and then like their halfway form, which is what I'm drawing in this video. She also has like flight, which is again another common one. Her kind of like special ability, what I like to call is like meditation powers, which I'm not sure if that makes any sense. Pretty much it's like if she's in an area, she can just like if she just sits there and just focuses just really hard and like tunes everything out and just focuses, she can like notice a lot of parts of like the environment that she's in that like people wouldn't really notice. You know how in Avatar there's like tough vision, I guess you could say. It's kind of like that, but like she has to like focus hard to be able to do that, especially like in her childlike form. She can use that power, but it's not as developed as it will be later. Like let's say for example, like her and Jeremy are often in the same area, so if she were doing that, she would be able to take notice of so many more things that Jeremy wouldn't be able to. And that's another reason why she kind of has like the field of work that she does, because like that kind of power is really helpful for that sort of thing. Does she really care for Jeremy, or is it just for her job? Kind of a little bit of both at first. When she first like set out on this mission, it was more of just like, this is my job now, so I guess I gotta make friends with him. But like eventually she just really came to like care for him, and the two of them are very close, and they have a very like sibling they have a very sibling-like dynamic. So eventually it wasn't like she wanted to make friends, but it wasn't like her priority, but now it's like they just care so much for each other. Does her former bodies look the same as her current body? So when an angel and a demon like reincarnate, they're like kind of like their differences, but they're more like subtle. So like let's say her previous body had like almost the exact same features, only instead of white hair she could have like very light blonde hair, and then the body before that she could have had like a darker blonde hair, and then the body before that she could have had brown hair, and it's just stuff like that. So moving from body to body, they're not identical, and there are like subtle differences like that, but then like over time, like after many reincarnation cycles, the body can end up looking very different from the very first body. And it's the same with Aurora. Her previous bodies were just like ever so slightly different from each other, but her current body and her first body are very different. But in terms of like her last couple bodies that she had, they're pretty like similar. What was her favorite assignment that she's gotten? So it would be her current job, which is like being with Jeremy and figuring out that whole thing. But if she had to pick an assignment other than that, it would probably be her very first assignment, which is a very typical, like pretty much every single new angel and demon soul get this kind of job, and it's just like observing the human world and taking note of anything that like could be troublesome later. So just kind of like scouting, making sure that everything's going smoothly, and if anything isn't going smoothly, report it, and just stuff like that. But she really liked it because it got to be like, this is what my life is gonna be, and here's humans. And she just really liked, like she just absolutely adored the human world from that moment on. What were her first impressions of Jeremy? Honestly, it was kind of just pity, because like Jeremy, he's not the happiest of people, and he never has been, and like given his kind of upbringing and just what happened with him, he's like not the happiest, and he's very like short-tempered, and he lashes out a lot. If you saw his video, I'm sure you know. And so like a lot of people like from the outside looking in would look at him and think that he's like a problem child, and just kind of chalk it up to that and think that he's just like a bad kid. but like she kind of like, she knew his whole situation before meeting him, and so she kind of like was able to look past all of that, and at the end of it just really felt sorry for him. What would be her dream pet? She would love a bird. If she got to get a pet, she would probably get a bird, because she loves to fly, and she doesn't really have anyone to fly with, because Jeremy can't fly, because that's not a doomed ability. Remy can't fly, because she's a human, so she'd really like to have a bird, because then they could just fly together, and it'd be dandy. Does she get frustrated being in a child's body? Definitely at times, yes. There's definitely that part of her that's just like, yep, this is just how it goes. This is what I'm meant to do as an angel. I'm a child for the time being. But there are like other times where she really wants to be able to do more, especially in terms of Jeremy. Like she wants to be able to do more and be able to take care of him like how he's taking care of her. But she can't, and she knows that like she will be able to do so much more for him in the future. She just has to wait, and that's what's most frustrating to her, is that like she knows she can do more in the future, but she can't really do a whole lot right now. What is her favorite thing about humans? I feel like the relationships that they can make with each other. So with like angels and demons and stuff, they often like, they come and go because of like how many jobs they're taking, and sometimes they fail a job, and sometimes they like just don't get to see each other because of their jobs, and they don't really get to interact with each other. And a lot of the times they don't really like make friends with humans because they die quicker. And so like there's not a whole lot of deep connections that happen like in heaven and hell between like angels and stuff, and so she really likes to be able to see people make those connections. Does she remember her past lives? Yeah, the way that like past lives work in this universe, I explained it a little bit, but pretty much it's like their soul is put in a new body, but they can like remember their past lives, and them remembering their past lives is kind of like us remembering like previous weeks, where it's like the longer that time passes, we forget like tiny little details, but we still remember like the significant stuff that happened. And it's kind of like that, but like with lives. Does she have a favorite past life? Yes, it's actually the life previous, the one that she had before she met Jeremy. I'm not gonna talk too much about it because it does kind of play into like the story a little bit, but know that that is a thing that is kind of important. And I also got a question asking if she was close with anyone like other humans or like any other angels or anything. She was, but that's also tied into her past life, so let's just leave it at that, and you guys have fun speculating with that. How long is it gonna take for her powers to develop? So currently, like I said, she does have access to some powers, like she can fly currently, and she does have access to like her meditation powers, but they're not like fully developed, so she can only fly for so long, and she can only like sense so many things in the environment around her, and then eventually they're going to be like more developed. So when comparing her power development to her body growth, they'll considered to be developed probably when her body is roughly 30 years old, give or take. It really depends on like how often she works at it and like how often she's using her powers and stuff like that, but by the time her body is around 30 years old is when they'll be considered fully developed. What is her favorite thing to see in the human world? Aside from like just people interacting with each other, she really likes animals. I know I said that earlier, but she just really likes animals. They don't have animals in heaven and hell, and so it's one of her favorite things to see whenever she is in the human world. And lastly, does she act more like her body age or her soul age? Again, there's kind of like a mix of personalities. In general, it's like when she meets new people, and the one that like people see, like when she's in her human form, like when she's just out and about, people always see that like childlike version of her. But there's definitely like times where she really acts like her soul age, and she's much more of an adult than pretty much anyone in the story. Not that you'd be able to tell by looking at her. But yeah, that's that. You guys had a lot of really fun and really interesting questions for Aurora, and I wish I could answer all of them, but I can't. And again, since some of you are new here, I will give the disclaimer that I haven't really been giving in these videos. I'm sorry if there's things in this video that are kind of unclear, or if I'm just kind of brushing over things. This is a story that I would really like to make into a comic one day. Many of you already know that I'm working on a webcomic. It's not this story, but this story is definitely going to be in comic form at some point. No idea when it'll be, but a lot of information I would like for you to find out in the proper way, which would be reading the comic. So if anything was unclear, feel free to leave a comment down below asking a question. about this, and I'll try my best to answer it. If I don't answer your question, just assume that I can't answer it because it's a spoiler thing, but I'll definitely try and clear things up if they were unclear. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you liked Aurora. She is a character that I have been working on for a very, very, very long time, and she's one of my favorites. I always love drawing her, so I hope you like her as much as I do, and I hope that you're excited to hear more about her. Next month's character is going to be Remy, so stay tuned for that. And also, if this is the first video that you're watching of mine, you were probably very confused this whole time, but thanks. I am Oliver, and I do stuff like this a lot. I draw a lot of my own characters, and I draw fan art sometimes, and it's just a fun time with art over here, so subscribe if that's something that you're interested in. You could also follow me on any social media, especially if you want to be a part of videos like this in the future. I would recommend following me on Instagram over anywhere else, because that is where I do Q&As for OCs and stuff like that, and just keep you updated on any sort of video things. Currently over there is where I'm hosting an event for my 50,000 subscriber special. 50,000 subscriber special is going to be up the second week of November, and so if you want to be a part of that, go over to Instagram and check out my post about that. My social media is on screen now and linked in the description box below for you to check out. You should go do that. That'd be really cool. And there's a video on screen now and in the iCard for you to check out if you want to. I would definitely appreciate it. I love sharing my art with you all. And thanks for watching. I will hopefully see you next week, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.